order and get on our agenda, which says we'll stand for the flag salute. Oh, just a little slow. All right, I'll start tonight because I don't know where I am in the rotation. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Ooh. Eric. Oh, yeah, Eric's ready for fall. You see that sweater he's got on?
I don't know why.
It's
It
beautiful.
was a little cool up.
It
It was.
Dress warm in the morning and then.
Figure out when to change,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I didn't know what it'd be
I switched.
in here.
Well, that's what I did it. Yeah, you did
I
the same
did
thing.
the same thing, yeah.
Hey,
All right, so do we
Double.
have any, we don't have anybody new, but welcome to our, full members who will be with us very shortly. And, and to a very concerning parent, but we're happy to have you participate. And do we have anyone online?
Concerning.
now.
Yeah.
No, isn't that one person?
Yes, we do have one person on.
All right, welcome. I can't read it, of course.
Chris Goodell.
All right, welcome, Chris. We will have public comment soon. It'd be great if you felt like introducing yourself. That'd be wonderful. Are there any announcements we have upcoming yet? Back to school night, right? And anything else on the schedule coming up soon? Time's going fast. It's going very fast. All right, let's go over the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda? Are there any requested changes or revisions? We have a lot of policies tonight. So if there's no changes or revisions, move to approve the agenda. Someone?
I, moved to approve the.
All right, thank you, Keith. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion on the agenda? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, pass. The consent agenda includes the minutes. Does anybody have any comments or corrections on the minutes? Okay. Oops. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, no questions, comments, or suggested corrections on the minutes? Let's move on. We have the warrant register. The warrant register in your book is the papers that go to Umpqua Bank. And then on the other side of the minutes, we have the invoice listing, which is the beginning of school. It looks like all kinds of odds and ends from Amazon. Yeah. As you can tell, there's, $14 here and $10 there. They're getting pencils and all kinds of good stuff for the students to carry forward. I think the first 4 pages are all those types of things.
Yeah.
Okay, Amazon shopping.
On down, does anybody have any, that looks like some ESD costs? Business management program, another ESD cost. Textbooks. Textbooks.
Yeah, I see a lot of curriculum.
Yep,
Why are there two for the dumpster?
Are you on page 13 of 15?
Yeah. Oh, no, seven. The Columbia River, it's Columbia River, yeah, no, it's the dumpster. 2 times.
Yes. We had two.
Oh,
Oh, we had a lot of stuff from cleaning up this.
Cleaned out, one of them,
That's what it's for.
yeah, we
Okay.
have two extras.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them, though, with the ramen sale, we were able to cover the costs.
oh, good.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody noticed, I think there was a picture on the website that PCIA kids have lockers.
Yeah.
They do.
I assume that's.
Yes.
There's. Long haul.
Okay, then we go on to the, AP check register. Does anybody have any questions there? And then we have payroll. Payroll is in the amount of $130,461.32.
Can I be confused for a second?
Sure, you could be confused.
Okay, good. Is the invoice listing? The warrant register? It's the AP check register?
This is.
Okay, the AP check register, I will have to pass around. It's in the approval, but it's not in our, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Thank you for asking. It was in the approval thing, but we didn't have a copy of it. It's fat.
got it.
So we have a warrant, then we write a check, so are there duplicates there, right? Is that right?
That's at least a question.
I didn't read the name on each one of those very carefully yet.
No, it's. I would just, that explains my confusion.
That's pretty rare, Eric. Don't be setting any precedent here. Are the classrooms cooling down enough so you don't have to worry about air conditioning when the 2 or 3 hours of heat comes along?
Our classrooms have working air conditioning.
All right.
So we are in a very fortunate position. As a matter of fact, I saw some kids with coats on.
I think it was 43 or 44 degrees out this morning when I left that.
Yeah, it was 48 at our house.
Yeah,
So the house is cooling down
yeah,
and you don't want to turn on the heat because it's gonna be 80 in the afternoon.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're still working on getting the office just right. I walk in every morning and I just turn it off. It's cold.
Is it an argument? There are people who want it.
No, really, honestly, you wanna know what it is? Nobody knows how to reset it.
Oh.
So it just has it off and on.
And, I finally was like, oh, hey, Tim, can you please reprogram this? And he went and dug out the book and,
Get it.
Thank
he
you.
tried to do it. The instructions are actually on a CD-ROM.
Oh, wow.
So, what he could find a book to cover wasn't exhaustive of the direction, so it's a work in progress.
Okay, so on the consent agenda, we have the minutes with no changes. We have the invoice listing. Which on the last page shows our total of $88,939.77. We have our AP check register, which totals $184,634.11. So if that makes sense. And then we have. Let's sit on that, and then we have our payroll. We have our warrant register, which goes to Umpqua. And that's for a total of the, how come that number is the same as this number? Check register number. Okay, because the check register I read you is the details. Then payroll is $130,461.32. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments regarding the consent agenda items of minutes? Payroll and vouchers / warrants? All right, is there-
To approve the consent agenda.
okay,
I'll second it.
all right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? All right, everyone in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you very much. It's not unanimous. So let's move on, and we have public comment next. Thank you for being here.
You said it's not unanimous.
I said it is unanimous.
Oh.
I just
I
didn't
was
say,
confused.
I just
Yeah.
didn't say aye
Oh,
myself, because I'm waiting for everybody else to answer, so I just.
no, I thought I heard you say it's not unanimous.
I
Yeah.
specifically says, no, I can't vote.
Well, you know what, so I'll tell you upfront. Sometimes I don't hear very well,
Yeah, me too.
and I went to the ear doctor a couple of weeks ago. And I thought I just couldn't hear very well. As it turns out, I hear sound in my right ear, but I got a 0 on the hearing test for understanding words. My left ear seems to be just fine. But my
Then you
right
need to
ear,
work that one.
so what I have is I think I can hear out of my right ear because my left ear is compensating for that.
Yeah,
So I'm supposed to go to some other doctor and see what my choices are.
you know, it's funny, well, I bet you ride as a passenger all the time. More than not, I bet you ride on that side of the car.
Well, it could
Because
be,
the drivers, people that drive, their left ear always goes bad because the window down.
so it could be that I do mumble and I don't know it. So be sure, don't be afraid to ask me to clarify or something else, so. Yeah, I guess it's just part of getting up there.
So your hearing aid doesn't.
Well, so I have hearing aids, but he said that I need to take them in and just have this one adjusted for this ear, but he said to wait. Because I probably qualify for one of those cochlear implants, but I don't really want that. You know, and then there's a couple other things they can do, so. I'll see what they come up with. Okay, public, I am so sorry to take up your time with my jabbering. Let's see if anyone has any comments.
Library looks nice.
It really does, Bill.
So I see 2 people on, so if someone has comments, be sure and just wave your little hand up there. All right, let's move on to the reports and approvals. The first report is the budget report. Did we have copies out there for the public?
Oh, nope, we can do that this week either.
Pardon?
But nope, we can do that this month either. It is really long.
We can just tell you it looks really good.
The budget?
The budget for the final budget for the year.
Do you want the budget report?
Yeah, I'll catch it later.
The-
I can print one really fast if you want.
I believe the main
Here,
number.
I've already read mine if you wanna
Or you
read
can
it.
take keys.
Yeah.
The revenue
Tomorrow.
totals,
I'll say I could have mine.
Yeah.
Study this.
Sad about
Saturday
it,
ready.
but yeah.
That's good.
I think I pocket of papers and then I
I think so, yeah.
lost it somewhere.
It's state 14. We are,
Yeah.
we're keeping our heads above water and not much else right now.
But
The budget total for, on the revenue side was 97.97% of budget. And expenditures 94.41. So
can't beat that.
that's the way we like the numbers.
Yeah. Up higher for the revenue and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little higher for the revenue and we use our funds to do what was best for students and staff, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I tried to play around with the numbers at the bottom on the first sheet, and I just couldn't make sense out of it. From our year-end fund balance. With their beginning year-end fund balance and then our ending year fund balance. And how much revenue we gained. For some reason I couldn't get the numbers to add up properly. But I know it's confusing when you read it, excess of revenues over expenditures. But that's not the amount that's added, and so, and then we have the 200,000, but we spent of our other instructional programs, $202,434, $202,434, we spent 21,517. So 189.16 was left from that. And sometimes we forget that that's there. We also then put in $200,000 into the capital budget. So if you go over to the capital budget side, you'll see that our total there is now $206,601.
Wait a minute. So our budget. We budgeted in a beginning fund balance of 955,000. But our actual was 1,070,000, so we actually had $115,000 more at the beginning of last year than what we thought we would have when we budgeted.
Well, I've been trying to figure this out.
Right?
If you take our total actual for the year,
Mm-hmm.
if you take the $1,070,000 and you subtract the $972,356, you don't come up with the right amount, I don't think. Is that what you're looking at?
So that's E.
Cause it showed the excess of revenue over expenditures is
Yeah.
93,000.
Yeah, H is supposed to be E plus F plus or minus G.
That's why I gave mine away. Here you go. Anybody write the rest of this?
Yeah, so 107. Oh,
John can figure it out.
Yeah.
I know an accountant.
Yeah, so the E is subtracting. Because it's in parentheses. So if you take
Yeah,
the
that's right.
actual year,
Yeah.
F, and you subtract
F minus E
E,
equals
you
H.
get H.
F minus E equals H.
And it would be,
Yeah.
and then Eric, to your question on F, yes, the actual for yours would be higher because we would have started with. Like, we don't like, right, because we don't know when we budget.
Yeah.
So like,
No, that's
right, so we're gonna
yeah.
have the same thing this year, because we.
Cause
spent
what did
a
we,
couple percentage less than,
and so we budgeted a beginning fund balance on this year's budget of a number less than 972,356.
Right.
I don't remember what it was.
And then, but we don't show our federal forest funds here. On this piece of paper, do we know how much we got?
Oh, we got some?
I would want to double check before entering,
Yeah.
like,
So we should get some for this year. If we haven't yet, we will, because they did fund it for this year, this year as in this year, not 25, 26.
Yeah, the physical year,
Pardon?
the physical year.
24, 25.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
no, the
no,
federal
the-
calendar year, which is different yet.
Right, yeah. It should be the year twenty
We
twenty-five.
usually get it in the spring.
Right.
And I don't know if that's for the previous federal fiscal year or the current fiscal year, but.
They're doing a lot of
But
logging
we
right now.
we do have one more year of it, and what I'm not sure is if that's what we get or got this spring, or will get, or if we actually will get something in next year too, I
Yeah.
don't know. So, but there's no legislation to give us anything beyond that.
Give it 6 months and go look out where I live. It's all gonna be different. Completely. Right now, there's a couple of hillsides, the entire hillside is bare. It's all empty.
Is that Forest Service though?
Yeah, it's on national forest,
Okay,
so it's
well,
and
hopefully we'll see more of that.
they have brand new logging roads. A lot of them,
So we should be able. to
almost all the way out to
legislation,
Oklahoma.
hopefully, Or they'll fall back on the existing
Yeah.
legislation that's already there.
Mhm.
We don't have to have new legislation if they start cutting.
Yeah.
Okay, so budget review. Any further questions or comments? Superintendent report.
Cool, okay, well, it's day 14. Of the school year, so you can imagine it's been a whirlwind. We are off to a really great start. We had some wonderful pre-service days. The staff spent 4 days together preparing for the school year. We covered a lot of really important topics. We had some teamwork topics, where we talked about like some of the common space expectations. We talked about, committee assignments, making sure that people were on committees that they really felt passionate about. And then we had a variety of different, team meetings where we were either all together or, second, middle school and PCIA or just K-8. So we kind of really mixed it up to make sure that people had a chance to come together, full group and then in smaller groups. We worked quite a bit on strategic alignment, and making sure that we were, coming together on some new things that would support student learning. So we discussed like our 30-day grading periods at PCIA, so students will have more place markers along the year to help them with deadlines, because we found last year that there was a lot of anxiety from students delaying completing their work until the end of the term. So to support that, we have 30-day grading periods, which will kind of be benchmarks throughout the semester. We are piloting the new high school and beyond plan. Washington State is requiring everyone to go to a specific piece of software called School Links. This is year 1. We signed up to be in year 1. So that means a learning curve for some of our advisors. We came together to discuss behavior and discipline, to try to better align that. And then other continuous improvement things like training on the new curriculum. We've got a lot of technology changes. We've rolled out a program called Clever. So our younger students can actually they'll have like a little QR code like this. They can just hold it up and get logged right into the new Chromebooks, which are working out great. I got to be in the K2 classroom today when they got to log in and listen to books that they could choose being read to them, with the words being projected right on the screen. So that was really great. They were all very excited. Even some singing along. Imagine they picked books with music in them. So that was amazing. And just kind of spent a lot of time getting ready to roll all of that out.
So do they each have headphones so they each can have a different book?
Mhm.
Okay.
And so some of the other big changes this year that we had to prepare for were the 7-period day, which it's a big shift. You know, we are already seeing a change in attendance over last year, and I apologize. I thought that I had, grabbed a copy of the report off the printer. It's no longer there, so, I can tell you it is a roughly 2% gain in attendance at the start of last year to this year. So our students are attending better. And let's put that in perspective because the data is skewed a little bit. Last year, we had 26 students at PCIA. This year, we only have 21. So each absence that we have this year would impact our percentage significantly this time of the year. So the fact that we have fewer students and we've made attendance gains already in the same start of the year shows us that we're starting out on a really positive trajectory with some of the changes that we've made. It is a learning curve, and I know especially for science and math, a lot of people are feeling that. And so we're just trying to have grace with students and staff as they work through what it looks like to pace a class that they used to do in 2 hours twice a week into 50-minute increments four times a week. And so I think our upperclassmen are feeling that the most because they've had the most experience with the longer classes. But we have a lot of dialogue going on at the staff level to talk about what it looks like, how we can support students through that, how we can keep their anxiety low, because right now it might feel like we've doubled their workload because they have those classes more often, but really what we've done is we're trying to spread it out. So it takes 21 days to build a habit. I'm gonna keep saying we're only on day 14. So I think I'll have a lot of good things to share in October about the progress that we've made towards that. So we've rolled out a lot of things to start the year, and it's been a pretty positive start. So feeling pretty good about it. We have back to school night for Mill A school coming up on the 24th. Next week is Constitution and Citizenship Day. So I know I saw teachers already making lesson plans for that. It's required in Washington for schools to observe it. And we have our first tea talk with principals coming up on Thursday, the 25th of September. So anyone wants to just drop by between 2 and 3 p.m. Amy and I make ourselves available to answer any questions, comments, or concerns, or just get to know people a little bit better. So we're really looking forward to that.
That went pretty well last year, didn't it?
You know, we started to get some traction. I feel like when people were able to make it, they had things that they wanted to talk about. And we had some really good meetings. So I'm excited to continue that through this year. It also gives us a chance to meet. Every other month we do a coffee chat in the morning. On the opposite month, we do a tea talk in the afternoon so that families who have different schedules can make it.
But you can get both tea and coffee.
But you can get both tea and coffee at each event. Yeah. You know what, Bill? If you tell me you're coming, there will be donuts. Sometimes there are treats. Sometimes there are treats. We also rolled out breakfast after the bell for our K-8 classrooms. So students now arrive and go straight to their classroom for a nice calm environment where they get to have breakfast together. It's working out really well. Students, we know that like breaking bread is like a way to build relationships. And so students are doing that in their classroom with their peers, with their teacher. It's calm. There's calm music playing, or they're getting a chance to chat. It's not quite as stimulating as everyone being together. So we're rolling straight from that into learning much more smoothly. We have quite a bit of spilled milk in K2 during cereal. So we bought some extra bar eggs to help her keep the classroom clean. But other than that, I haven't really seen a lot of hiccups. Naomi did a great job. She was able to secure funding for the breakfast carts. They're giant. They're so tall, they barely fit through the door. But so we will be able to grow into them, but they were all purchased for us. So it's great. It's very organized. All the cleaning supplies are there. And we're starting to dig into curriculum. We're getting excited. Next week, we'll be running our English language diagnostic assessment, K through 10th grade. We decided we would not put the upperclassmen through it because we're really looking for longitudinal growth data. So we will test, at PCI, we'll just test 9th and 10th graders so that over time we can recognize, growth in our students. That'll all be done now on the Chromebooks that we have one-to-one, Chromebooks K-8, and then, our PCI students will be able to use their computers for that. And then after that, we'll do math and we'll be off and running with our tiered interventions, and things should start to kind of even out and be a little bit more smooth once we've built those routines, and implemented the new structures, so. We also, you'll see coming up, classified contracts. We had an opening because, one of our paras took the special education para position through ESD 112. Through the interview process, we found 2 amazing candidates with different availability. And so we were actually able to work it where they're both going to be joining us. We have one para who will join us 1 day a week, and then the other will join us the other 4. So we're able to accomplish a great coverage for our students, and push in support for our teachers, and bring 2 new members onto the team. So I'm really excited, and I have those contracts over there. And that's all I've got right now. So if you have any questions about how the day is going, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Do you want us to do these now?
I
We'll
just,
let
they're
it go by
perfect.
so everybody can read them, and then,
Yeah.
Right.
then we can,
So are they people that live here or?
One of them is a recent PCIA graduate,
Cool.
Yeah.
and the other is a family who is new. Their students are new this year. So we're very excited. They're both very connected to the community. It's really great to have a PCIA graduate who qualifies, because there are pretty strict qualifications to be a paraeducator in the state of Washington. And because of her college credits, she was able to qualify for the paraeducator role.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's really awesome. The kids, it was pretty cool when we walked in today. And we came in the library during a study hall, and all of her previous classmates were like, "Woo!"
Well, she's really familiar with everything.
She's very familiar. She TA'd in an elementary class last year, so she's been working with our students. She kind of knows the routine. It was great, and it was really great to see the other members of the team really step up and embrace her start. So it's exciting.
Very cool.
So the all-school assemblies that you had, have you had anything special there, or just for people to get to know each other, or?
We had our first K-8 assembly, and then the Culture and Climate Committee is working on how we can have K-12 activities that feel age appropriate for everyone. And so during pre-service days, the staff identified 3 pillars that we're gonna really focus in on this year, K-12: safety, responsibility, and kindness. And so everything that we're doing with students and staff is really anchored in those things. So the first Wednesday of the month, every month, we'll have an assembly for K-8. We'll talk about character traits. The month of September is kindness. So it's pretty easy to anchor that in the pillar of kindness, but it's also easy to anchor it in the pillar of responsibility and safety, right? And so we draw those connections for students. We give them a little challenge. We watch a little video. It was great. In thinking about how to do that in a way that's appropriate for K-12, it gets a little tricky, but I'm really impressed by the Culture and Climate Committee's creative thinking. So we're gonna try a new format in October, and I believe we can pull it off. We'll bring the K-8 students in. We'll do some of the age appropriate content around the character trait for October. The leader's responsibility. Is it right?
I think so. Yeah.
And then we'll have the PCIA students join us about 15 minutes in, we'll recognize honor roll from last spring, so that kids can see some responsible role models. There is, Miss McClarney is working on like a school song / cheer that the band might come up and play. And then the younger kids would get a chance to be dismissed, and then we would work on what it means to be responsible in an age appropriate way for 9th through 12th graders. So you can see it's quite an organizational feat that we're gonna try to pull off. But I believe that we can do it.
I
So,
think it's great to get the kids involved in it.
yes, I'm excited to have someone besides me, because in September, I might have been the most excited about the kindness song.
You
It
were.
elicited a lot of giggles, but there should be someone up there singing and dancing besides me, so I'm excited to be rolling that out.
Alright, cool, well, thank you very much, it's very exciting to have school going, and, I'm sure there's all kinds of happy families and not so happy families.
It's a pretty mixed bag to start the year.
It's a
Yep.
tough thing as parents and students both, when you go back to school.
Yeah, and we're coming back to some adjustments, so we will continue to collect data and
So our-
analyze.
The number of students in each class, are we still holding the same 14, 14, 15, or
15, 14, 10.
15, 14, 10? Okay.
Jennifer has the 6, 8, and there's only 14, 14.
Oh, yes, 14, 14, 10.
Yeah.
10 and K through 2.
14, 14, 10. Middle school down.
All right, cool. Anybody have questions of Kelly or comments on how it's going back at school?
What is the 14, 14, 10?
Middle school has 14, 3-5 has 14, K2 has 10.
That makes sense.
You're gonna have a low number, that's the place to have it.
Yeah.
That was intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was intentional, knowing we were bringing in a teacher
Teacher.
who's not, she's not a new teacher, but teaching a 3-grade blend is very unique.
That's what I meant. New to us.
Yeah, new to us, and
She's
Yeah.
still excited?
she's, yeah. We're very, very, very lucky. to
I
have her
can't
on our
wait to
team.
meet her. It's going to be wonderful to meet her at back to school night.
Yes,
Who?
Our new K through 2 teacher.
yeah, she's really great. It is absolute pleasure walking around and just popping into different classrooms.
Okay, cool. Well, we have contracts that went around. Did anybody have any questions about our para educator contracts? Nope. So we have a contract for Abigail. She is working September 25 through July 26 for 128 days of 4 hours a day. And then we have a contract for Ariana. Is that-
She was very Ari, yeah.
Pardon?
Ariana.
Ariana, okay. She's working for the full year, September through July, 34 days at 4 hours a day. And so she's the one that's working 1 day a week. And then Abigail's working 4 days a week, right? Anybody have any, both of these, of course, are under our CBA, our union contract, so their pay is according to the scale of the contract. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, well, Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the 2 contracts with our educators presented. As presented, all in favor, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? All right, thank you, very congratulations. Put these back in the signature folder. So then we will go on to, oh boy. Policies. So we have quite a book of policies today. And most of them we had last meeting. So first, let's go over the 2 new ones that are here for our first reading. That would be policy 3241. 3241 is our student discipline policy.
It should be.
And it is our first reading of this policy.
And this is, I assume, as was the recommends?
Yes. Um. Bill just pointed out a typo on, I'm sorry, I did not include page numbers on this one. The third page. First non-struck paragraph, read, it says, and upstate its policies, it should be update. So I'll get that corrected. It's the only paragraph on the page that has black print on it.
On the third page?
Third page.
Third, yeah.
1, 2.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Oh, very
It
slow.
should say update, so I will have that corrected for the next meeting.
Yeah. Make it open toggle.
I mean, they'll figure it out, right?
I have a question on page, on the first page, under the listed items. On item 3, it says implementing, so the purpose of this policy and the accompanying procedure is to, for item 3, implement culturally responsible discretionary and non-discretionary discipline policies. And then item 5 says the purpose is to ensure fairness and equity in the administration of discretionary and non-discretionary discipline. I looked up culturally responsive, and it basically is the same thing as fairness and equity in the administration. And I just don't know that we even need item 3, and culturally responsive is not defined. So that's one of the comments I had on maybe a change there.
But still, all these are coming down from the state and.
No, they're written by WAS, so if we don't like them,
Right, I know, but,
it might make more sense to us. I just think that we really should have the ability to make sure it reads in something that we like, and we think that our citizens and our teachers and our parents and our everything can read it and understand it. And so that's important to me, so I apologize. I don't mean to
understand.
insinuate, that, I don't think.
Lot of
Thank you,
redundancy.
Diane, I'm sorry, I just have a different viewpoint.
Right, but I'm looking at it from the point that when this comes down to us, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming there are a lot of people at different levels that have gone through this, lawyers included. And considering that, then unless it's a necessary deviation from what they suggest, we could run into troubles.
I don't,
So, I mean, maybe not necessarily with this, but I'm just generally, if it's something that's, obviously against what we do or think, that's one thing.
so if we remove item 3, is there anything about providing an opportunity for all students to achieve personal and academic success? This is replaced it, that, and I don't know if that is required, this is critical rather than essential? Is critical more than essential?
They changed the classification, so you'll see pretty much every policy that I bring forth will have a change.
Critical to new
I
essential?
think, yeah,
Like critical is you have to implement this
Yeah.
because you're required by law to have
correct.
a policy that.
Last meeting, I sent out, I passed out a 1-pager of their new definitions
I see.
that
Yeah.
they're using, right?
It was kind of like in the next policy, it's
Hopefully-
hopefully shall is now will.
Yes.
And I'm going really, but, so be it.
Well, I get something to change, because next year they'll change it back from.
What I think,
Well,
Eric, to your question,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
item 5, we said ensuring fairness and equity in the administration of discretionary, non-discretionary discipline. Ensuring, and then pop up and pull opportunity for all students to achieve personal and academic success. That's that's the last half of item 3. And so that puts that in there. So we're ensuring opportunity for all students to achieve personal and academic success, which I think is really important. While we're ensuring fairness and equity in the administration of our policy, discipline policy. So that's one to think about. One of the things I know that's really important to us is item 6, administering discretionary discipline in ways that respond to the needs and strengths of students, comma, support students in meeting behavioral expectations, and keep students in the classroom to the maximum extent possible. I'd like to have us consider adding a phrase to that says, while ensuring, and I don't know how to word this exactly, but no disruption to the learning environment for the student classroom or something like that. Because the learning environment's very important. And we want to meet all the needs of the students and address behavioral issues, but we want to make sure that we maintain the priority of the remaining students in the classroom to have a positive learning environment.
So I'm looking at ASHA and wording on culturally responsive teaching and education. Culturally responsive teaching involves using diverse instructional materials, adapting to different communication styles, and engaging with families to build on students' cultural capital. Leveraging students' strengths, prior experience, and knowledge and assets for learning. Is there a reason we don't want our discipline to?
I don't know, that's not the definition I found. Cultural responsive can be interpreted in a lot of ways. And we do want to ensure that we are addressing the needs of each individual student. Because each individual student might their own selves have different understandings of different words depending on their ethnicity, etc. So how we want to, whether we want to have details like that in there, otherwise just using, I don't know.
I agree. What you said about them not disrupting the learning.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to add on 6. I think not disrupting the learning environment is important to make sure we maintain that, because that's one of our priorities and our responsibilities.
I think that one would be the one I would strongly caution us against adding that, without getting legal counsel on that. I think that might be counter to some of the information that's coming out from the state around removing students from their classroom. I think,
Well, I don't think you have to remove the student from the classroom. We don't remove students from the classroom too often, more than just for a few minutes, right? But we do have to make
Well,
sure
that
that we're
depends on
not
what the kid does, I
interrupting
believe.
the
That
learning
it all
environment,
depends on
which
what.
could
the
be
kid
just
does.
a parent's attention or, other things. You have all kinds of procedures.
Yeah,
I would worry about how someone would define an interruption to the learning environment. Some students learn best with no sound, some students learn best with music, some students learn best with no physical movement. And if a student is engaging in a behavior that's causing them to move around, that in itself could be distractionary to some students in the classroom, but wouldn't necessarily rise to the level where we could legally remove them from the classroom. But it would be potentially able to be labeled as disruptive because a student may not be able to concentrate as well with someone moving around the classroom.
So I think that we have so many situations, there's no way we can address it, but this particular piece is philosophy and purpose. And so I think it's important to document what's important to the board, and it's important to the board that we maintain the learning environment to the extent possible for all children. We don't have to relate it to any particular situation. We just want to do that all the time.
I would like to look at the RCWs on this before making any changes. I'm looking at RCWs, for language access programs. The RCW specifically says that it needs to be culturally responsive. And so before we take out something that the RCWs require us to have policy for, I'd like to make sure that
That's what bothers me is look at all these references, the legal references. It's like you have to have read and know that you understand them as a lawyer would
Oh, yeah,
before you want to make changes, I think. It just, you know.
I agree, Diane, and disagree. To me, if something rises to the level that we disagree with it as a board, and it's worth us investing the legal money in doing so, we need
Right.
to be free to look at that and make changes. At the same time, I feel like we need to minimize how often we do that and
Mhm.
keep the list of things that we're doing our
Right.
own versions of smaller.
I'm sure Curtis would be happy to review any questions we have or suggested modifications. If we feel that they are important to us. But this is our statement of philosophy and purpose. So, but yeah, all those things are correct and they're all things we need to think about and it's, you know, just if you look at the first sentence, we're going into a session of strategic planning for missions and goals. And the very first sentence basically could be part of our missions and goals. The board focuses on the educational achievement of every student, and we do. Every student education is our first priority. And so everything we do after that, we have to make sure we are taking care of all students. Yeah, John.
And I don't wanna speak out of order, but, I was thinking kind of the same thing, Anita. I know like we're coming up on the strategic planning meeting and I just observe or note that I think maybe because of my own particular issues over the last couple of years, like where some policy issues, let's say, came up. But I've noticed that like this particular issue of like, yeah, where is that line between where the board can sort of craft the policy and direct, changes versus sort of, let's say, the prescribed policies from WASDA. And this seems like a kind of a larger issue to maybe try to isolate and figure out, like, and maybe, in other words, I would agree too, like, I don't think it makes sense to have attorneys review every time there's a change. But I also think that it would be useful to maybe better understand, maybe it's been done by the board recently, but to try to understand where are the guardrails of that, because a sort of a thing that I can't account for is that sort of the number one point of a school board, I think, is to direct the policy of their district, right? And so the dilemma I see, well, if that's the case, and yet all of the substantive policies of a school district are really prescribed by WASDA, what does it mean to have a school board direct policy other than they're just sort of echoing what comes through these policies? I would tend to be more one, I think, like what Diana's saying, like, well, if it's been through this review, like, then it would seem like there's inherent risk in maybe moving away from what WASDA is saying. And yet, on the other hand, I think there are times where it's important for local control or the unique circumstances of the district to kind of come in and perhaps make changes. I just don't know how, it feels like it's a larger issue that we maybe need to work on over the next couple of years, and maybe it's Curtis or getting some legal counsel in a general sense that's informed by maybe some specific examples from recent policies, like we want to get a handle on how better to do this. here's a couple examples, what kind of latitude do we have? And then maybe get advice on how to proceed, but I just note that as a more general issue, so those are some thoughts.
Yeah, I would, to me, it's a cost benefit analysis. What are we gaining and is that worth adding the administrative overhead? Right, like, if it's just, I feel like this phrasing would be a little better. Like how does it substantially affect how we implement and do our day to day? Whereas, hey, we disagree with this. Let's stand on our principles and get the legal help we can to look at what flexibility we have.
Right.
And I know that, you know, like Diane mentioned, there's a whole team that works on these. So originally, and the law says that the board writes the policies, that's our responsibility. But, you know, you could see, since, you know, early time, every school district would interpret the law differently. And then the state established WASDA to create model policies. It isn't mandatory that we adopt their policies, their model policies. But when it comes to a policy that is implementing a specific law, I think I said last time, we need to make sure that Curtis can stand up and defend us in court with what our policy says. And so I think there's a kind of a line, a blur between when we are expressing how we feel and our values and our importance to our students and our responsibility to our students and implementing laws. And right now, there's a lot of confusion there, as well as a lot of new terminology there, and things that we may have to go back and change in another 6 months. And culturally responsive is a new term for our policies, not necessarily across the US, but for our policies here. And WASDA's running a policy for every single school district in the state, whether they have, you know, 15,000 kids or 15 kids. So it's a tough job.
So is that where the redundancy comes in? Cause there's a lot of times you can find a policy like this and then you get on the internet and you find 5 more. That
You
are
could go
very
get
close.
sample policies from other school districts on the internet.
So that's what I'm saying, you know,
Yeah.
there's also so much redundancy to these policies, it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
You know, it's just like I looked up, there was one word and it was, I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I found like 5 different policies concerning that one word.
Mhm.
So,
And that's what I did, like Gary's doing. I looked up some of these things to see, so that I could see how parents would read this.
yeah,
And,
well, to me, it's, you know, you got in the same sentence right after each other, discretionary and non-discretionary. Well, what does that cover?
So here's what I found.
To me, it covers a lot, covers pretty much everything, the whole window. So wouldn't there be a different way an easier way to describe exactly what it just said without saying discretionary and non-discretionary? Just say that it covers the discipline policy. You know,
so and our policy expresses not only how we feel as a district, but the fact that we want to implement laws.
mhm.
And then the procedures do everything else. And some of this stuff doesn't even need to be here in the policy. This is our
Right.
philosophy and our purpose. You know, I think we should write our own philosophy.
Yeah.
So what I found,
Eric,
that we can look at is that WAC 392-400-025 defines culturally responsive as synonymous in meaning as cultural competency. And then RCW 28A 415-443 rules governing school discipline of students expressly uses cultural responsive in connection with cultural competency. Then it's also listed in the educator preparation program approval standards. It requires educator preparation programs for teachers, principals, and administrators to prepare candidates who demonstrate knowledge, skills, and cultural responsiveness. It ties to standards like cultural competency, diversity, equity. And then under professional educator standards board, legislation passed in 2021, Washington requires educator standards to include cultural competency. And so that's where a lot of this appears to be coming from.
So if a parent comes to the district, we've got fairness, we've got equity, and we have discretionary and non-discretionary, which I assume means that where we have a discretion, where we don't because of state law. But they'll say, well, you're not being culturally responsible to my child. We want to be fair, we want to be equitable, and we will do everything we can to accommodate every individual student. But we put in cultural responsive, which is really up to interpretation.
Yeah, you could change the whole game, be just with that. The whole thing could completely change it, because my kid is this way, and that, you need to set things up for that kid, so.
I don't know that it is. I don't know the answer because I haven't looked at this close enough, but I just listed a bunch of whacks that require us to require our educators to be culturally responsive trained. And so if we remove that from our,
It could be in our program.
I
It
definitely,
doesn't have to be part of our philosophy.
one of the things that I find myself wondering right now is if removing that does creates a position where someone could have more of an issue with an action we took because it is in the recommended policy and we specifically removed that. And so,
Well, keep in mind, this is still just an introduction to philosophy and person, this is not.
there's a very exhaustive matrix that accompanies this that you should have in your
Yeah, the
procedure section.
matrix is underneath miscellaneous. It's not the first page, it starts with the third page.
Mhm. Because it is a administrative, it's part of the administrative procedures and not the policy. So it would potentially answer some of your questions, Keith, about discretionary versus non-discretionary.
And 99.99999% of our situation is way down in type 1. The last page.
I would say that it's not
below
even
that.
on the matrix.
It's not even on the matrix, right?
I would say 99.99% of what we handle is not, doesn't even qualify to be on the matrix. While it might feel like it should, it is not. And the special education laws that come into play with some of like the removal and the disciplinary action is highly impactful to how we can handle different student situations.
So how would you guys like to move forward? Would you like to suggest changes, approve it as it is? Or look at
I'm almost more concerned about some of the policies we approve that don't account for our, like, can we meaningfully use disaggregated data collected under RCW 28A 300.042 to monitor the impact of fairness and procedure? Do we have enough to disaggregate data
We
to
don't.
actually do that? Like like putting that in our policy and then having an issue come up.
But we
because-
are trying. So one of the things that we are doing, Eric, as far as like being able to disaggregate and look at data is we are looking for all of the ways that we can. That's actually something that the leadership team is focusing on this year, is how we can use data to inform our decisions, given our numbers, like what can we do to continue to look at it in a wide variety of ways. We just might not be doing it the same as larger districts.
yeah, we are mandated to update this annually. The last page has that on there.
Well, personally, I think if a bunch of lawyers figure this out, then that's it. I don't see the issue of just leaving it as is. Cause we start removing things, then basically without knowing it, you could be opening up yourself for.
I think there was one we had where it was like,
Or issues, that can come, that can arise later on. You know, if you leave it, at least, if nothing else, if you leave it as is, as written by the lawyers, you got some basis to cover
Well,
yourself
if
with.
people feel good, go ahead and make a motion.
It's a first reading.
Yeah.
Oh, it is first reading, for pity's sake.
Yeah.
You were telling me you hope we discussed in the first reading everything.
I was, it's so much better. I will fix the typo and then.
All right, so
You always
we
like to wait until next.
take it
month.
home and, we'll bring it back at the next meeting and, see how it turns out. Our next meeting. First, second, third is October 20th and a retreat is
Tentatively scheduled for the 18th.
the 18th. So our retreat is prior to our next meeting, just in case we want to talk about purpose or
Where,
focus or something.
where,
It's gonna be, I think, at John's house, if he's still willing to have us, I don't know, we have options.
Yeah, well, maybe we're gonna talk about that at that.
Yeah,
point.
it is,
Yeah.
I've got it on at the end of the
Yeah,
new business, so let's go on to the next one. Grading and progressive reports, 2420, is that correct?
Progress report.
Oh my goodness. Where's my agenda here? Grading and progress reports. So we were kind of just talking about that, Eric.
Was I?
Well, you were talking about the
Oh, the other disaggregated
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
coming up.
Well, I think the other one we were looking at, they just like didn't make any sense, is like. What is our ratio to a male to female bus drivers and that type of stuff? If you're in a district, like I was out of that.
Honestly, we have to answer these questions on forms that get submitted all the time. Like today, I spent many more hours than it should have taken me because there was a tech glitch, but filling out information with ratios and data on migrant families, homeless families, multilingual right, and so like, but it all has to get reported. So like everything that they're asking for in here ties into some report that either ties into a grant or a mandated report to OSPI. So
Yeah.
like we have,
I think,
to the extent possible, we always have to do it.
I think the
Um,
question was more one of like, we had to have a program in place to try to encourage
We have
a good ratio.
We have a migrant family liaison assigned, like one of our staff members assigned to that position. We have exactly 0. We also have someone assigned to the multi-language family liaison. We had exactly right, but like we still have to attest.
No, it was more about the, our diversity in hiring. Grounds maintenance and bus drivers.
Yeah.
And what ratio we have and what programs we have to encourage.
Fill out those reports. They're a lot.
Program that we have in place to encourage that.
But it's phenomenal the amount of stuff that we
It's
have to
like-
send to the state constantly. Okay, how about gradings? Anybody have any comments? You'll be happy to know. The only one that I had is I wondered, probably no different, nobody cares. I just come with this on the first, second, third paragraph. The second line in black, determining changes that should be made to affect improvement. I thought it should say determining changes to affect improvement. Does that make any sense, Kelly? It doesn't make any difference, whatever.
well, that was my question. What's the difference between using will or shall?
Okay, now there is a
Same
big
thing.
difference there.
Yeah.
Shall is a mandatory legal term that you can get sued if you
Okay.
don't do it big time.
Okay,
Will, well, I just haven't gotten it done yet.
There
I
we go.
will do it.
right. But, okay, so now you're in the context of the time frame. So there's your difference. So if you use will and use a time frame added to it, then you're doing the same thing. Exact same thing. Shall and will is in the same reference.
Yeah, as a public employee and director of the port district, I never use the word shall unless I wanted to enforce it.
So even if you use the word shall, if you don't give in context of the time frame, then there's no specific time frame to do it.
Well, that's a good point.
You know, so it's, your two words are the exact same in this contract.
No attorney in there again.
And what was your?
I used to read a lot of legal documents constantly,
Yeah.
every day.
And
So that was my job, was to understand exactly
Darwin
what
Will's
it
a big,
says.
big
And
discussion.
you sit there and read it till you do understand.
I reread the sentence you were asking about. What was your?
Oh, I was just thinking maybe it should, to help in determining changes to
Okay,
effect improvement.
instead of that.
Instead of should.
I think that,
Gonna make-
so the way I read it was that the conferences will determine what the educators should now go, like that
Yeah.
collaboration about what needs to happen next. That's the way I read it.
Yeah, that's the way it is, yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
And is that the first or second reading?
First.
Okay.
On the very last paragraph down there, a student's grade report may be withheld until such time as the student pays for any school property. Do we get a hold of the parents and let them know they need to pay us money? So we don't hold their grades for 3 months?
We're very good about it. Yeah, they were very good about it.
Because we say we don't, the parents aren't involved until,
I believe
they want to appeal.
we had some seniors dropping off checks on the last day of school last year, so.
Okay, so that's first reading. Any other comments on that one? Let's move on to second reading, if it's okay with everyone. Policy 1310, policy adoption manuals and administrative procedures. Is that right? 1310. Oh, yep, that's right. I just had one,
I have 23241s. I started reading it again, like, this one's familiar.
31. I didn't do that wrong, though. I didn't read this.
I don't have a policy.
Those are second readings. I don't think we
We didn't pull them out.
I didn't think, I didn't think, so
It should be in your book, because it should have been there
They
last
did.
time.
if you guys. will
Did you
now.
pull them out last time?
No, they're
3241.
You got it.
No, I don't have one. I don't have that one.
Are you talking about 3241 or 3210?
Issue 1310.
1310 is the first one on the agenda,
1310.
so it's not very long, I'll just,
That's 2 each.
well, I'll just tell you what, I have no changes except one. And the policy adoption, has some things in there that about, in the second paragraph, about the proposed policy will describe in a notice of meetings of which a policy would be considered. And it's talking about we could actually approve a policy in one meeting. If we have an emergency need, we can do that. We don't have to go through the first and second reading. But I think that one thing it doesn't say, and one thing that's very important is RCW 28A 320.15, which I've brought up several times. It's very, very specific. Before adopting a policy, blah, 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 the Open Public Meeting Act, etc. In addition, include that notices a statement that sets forth or reasonably describes the proposed policy. I think that's really important. And it doesn't actually reference that RCW or say that exactly here. So I just said, the district will comply with RCW 28A 320.015, paragraph 2. Add that to that, so it's, because that's an important RCW. We just say that anywhere in there, new, that will comply to that.
And this was the second,
Pardon?
second
Yeah.
reading. Yep. I don't have it either, Diane.
That's what I was just gonna let you read it.
Yeah, we don't have a copy of either.
They were in your binders last month,
Uh,
because they were first
I
reading.
might have pulled.
So
it
if you
out.
pulled them, you don't. have them.
Do you want?
I have them, then. I
Then you
it
have
home,
them.
though.
Do you want me to?
That's
print-
helpful.
Do you want me to print it? I have it up on my
I
computer,
ain't worried about it.
because if there were any
Did you get to read it?
changes, I
I'm,
Did you
I'm
want to
happy
read
the
it,
way it
Gary?
is.
Or do you have it?
Eric has this.
Yeah, I have mine.
You've got yours, okay.
He's got-
Did you want to read it real
No.
quick?
Because we have a second reading
Basically
today.
only one.
Yeah, didn't you just read it?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one on
So are
our
we-
agenda.
Amending it,
Oh, yeah, that's right, sorry. So this is the first one that we considered under second reading, so we can approve this tonight if we would like. Is there a motion
Sure, I'll make the motion to approve it as written.
as written,
Okay, as a minute,
as amended?
however you wanna read it.
Is there a second?
No? Everybody's gotta think about this one, huh?
was the RCW in the legal reference the one that? Yeah, I can't keep up with the numbers as fast. What's the RTW that you're referencing, is it listed?
It is,
It's on the policy. Okay. 220.
Not a very big one.
okay, so the motion dies for that.
What is what is the FLA?
One white. So. Is that the only one?
Oh, no, we got a whole bunch of them.
If we're gonna make any amendments, I wanna make sure I capture them, since it's the second read, so.
33, 6. Oh, I don't have that one either. At home.
It sets forth.
Is it? I'm wondering if this is one of those times where it's not specifically called out in this, like you were just talking about, some of the redundancies in policy, because it's in a different policy. And that might be why it's not.
And that could be, I just think,
Specifically
I think
called
it's
out in
important
this
to have it there, because you can read this one, you don't know there's another one you gotta read too while you're doing your agenda.
Yeah.
Cause it does focus on being able to do a policy without going through your first and second reading process. That's the meat of that second paragraph.
So these two I'm gonna leave in, like,
Yes, please,
yeah,
please do. Or remember to bring them back with you.
no, I'll just leave them in here.
I mean, I'm not particularly motivated, but I have no issue with saying we're gonna follow an RCW. We can't get in trouble for following an RCW.
Unless it's one that doesn't pertain to them.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's one that pertains but not to this specific,
the subject, right?
right? So, I can see potential problems.
So does that mean it's back on the floor?
This is policy adoption, manuals and administrative procedures is the title of this policy. So to me, it's important to make sure that that requirement is in there.
Talk about.
Should be.
The subject is policy adoption. And so I'd just like to be accurate and include everything, and it's different than the last one where I wanted to take stuff out.
Little lack of consistency.
The proposed policy will be described in any notice of the meetings at which the policy will be considered. If the notice is issued pursuant to the OPMA, which it will be, the board of directors will provide opportunity for public written oral comment on such policies before adoption or amendment. Are we, by the way, just in rereading this. Non-substantive editorial revisions and changes in administrative, legal, or cross-references need not be approved by the board. Are we taking care of that? It's just,
As I come across ones that I'm looking up, if there's like, sometimes I'll find where it was clearly like red line but didn't get fixed. I'm not,
bringing
yes,
that to the board. If it's just, if it's in these sections.
it is,
or-
or just the legal references
yeah.
themselves. I haven't actually come across anywhere it was just that,
Okay.
but I have like a couple times had to like, oh, that was supposed to be stricken. And it's still in there, I'll delete it. If it was literally just the bottom section, yeah, I would just take care of that
Is
too.
that the OPMA reference?
Pardon?
Is that the OPMA? reference?
No, this is
No, that one doesn't reference OPMA.
no, it's not the OPM. It's
Cause
the
what-
Open Public Meetings Act. This one is making sure that the public is clearly notified of the action intended by the board. So the public has the ability to respond and
Oh, no,
participate.
it is the same. It says that the school district shall comply with the notice requirements of the OPMA,
Well, yeah, but I
Shall,
was
in
asking for that
addition,
second.
include the
Thing,
notice.
yeah.
A statement that sets forth a reason describes the proposed policy, and we have.
That's
The
what it's-
proposed policy will be described in any notice of the meetings at which the policy is to be considered if the notice is issued pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act.
Right, and this RCW isn't, refers to it, but it isn't.
Well, no, but I think there's like, this exact sentence kind of matches. We're gonna put the description in. And
Is there any reason why it would be inappropriate to reference this responsibility of the board?
no, I mean, I would say if you're gonna put it in, you just say if the notice is issued, like. Cause this line appears to be directly from there.
Right, I don't know why they didn't add the second one, and that's very
The
important to me.
second one's here. It will have the statement describing. The proposed policy will be described in any notice of the meetings at which the policy will be considered. So and if you want to say will be described
I just wanted to reference
As-
the RCW.
as,
that's all I
yeah.
wanted.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay,
we can put the, you can put
Would
the.
you like the RCW then under legal? Under legal references?
and that's where it should be, because that is a
Yeah.
mandated legal requirement of the board of directors.
Just put the RCW in legal references, I think that would be enough.
That's our notice of adoption of policy,
And then
RCW specifically.
if we put it in the legal references,
Mhm.
this line clearly is referring to that requirement. that
I
you
think
described.
if it's in the list of legal references, then we have got that, we have got that.
I don't think we can.
So it's got the 10, the corporate powers, but it doesn't have 015. Under legal references, so you would put it right there after that.
Mhm.
28A 320.015,
Yeah.
right after .014, I mean 010. You want to think about it and go on to another one?
Sure.
Right, let's go on to the next one on the list. Policy 3143, notification and dissemination of information about student offenses and notification of threats or violence and harm.
Can I have a quick aside? Would somebody honestly make the suggestion to WASDA that be referenced in this? I think that would be a good suggestion.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, 3143, I put tabs here, 3143.
So what I have in my notebook is the procedure. 3143.
I can reprint the policy, so I don't know.
Here's the policy.
That's the one that last time it had so many red parts, you couldn't even find a black part, except because black part's in red.
don't think we had really any issues with the vote, did we?
No,
No, you're in the procedures. You want me to reprint it for you? Yeah, anything behind this is just in the procedures. So it should have been.
What's happening, let's see. There's,
It's not really that.
I know you took down too.
I think that might be what. I have them open on my computer. If you would like, anyone would like me to give them a new
You wanna
paper.
take a look at it right now?
Well, I know we looked at.
Yeah, we did.
You know.
We
I don't
talked
remember
about a
any-
few things last time, just ignore all my markings.
Yeah.
It used to be a very short policy. It's not anymore.
No, yeah,
No.
that I remember.
All your trophies are gone. Where'd they go?
They are.
You see those two, bills for the trash?
No, the trophies are not there.
Well, I'm gonna go dumpster diving here.
They're in storage. But the trophies that are here, are, include students who are still active in the church.
No, I got one kid that got, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those trophies.
Oh, you're filling the.
My youngest, yeah, she's phenomenal in track. And then baseball, basketball. In fact, that basketball, she was also the cheerleader.
You gotta.
Yeah.
Played and
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, generally
Because-
they're replaced in all
because her sister was a cheerleader, so she's like,
with
"Hey, I
either
could do that."
will or must.
I noticed that, yes.
So must, cause a kid shall is kind of archaic, it can be either, so it's been replaced with
Like,
will.
that's what
must.
Keith was pointing out, yeah.
No, but I'm like, yeah, it's not just sometimes, it's like,
Yeah, I noticed they were doing that replacement.
I think.
It's like the word district, they love to change it from a capital D to a lowercase d, and then they love to change it right back. And
That was so weird.
I'm,
Capitalization,
that's one of the ones that.
we
I'm
we
like,
don't need to make capitalization, the board does not need to approve capitalizing or not.
Yeah. Well, it drives me crazy when we are doing the policy and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go through and change like 7 Ds. Because we're already bringing it for all the other changes, so I'm like, if it was just that, we would consider that a grammatical change.
I mean, if you're generally talking about a district, but I mean, district as all, you know, whatever. And personality is fine if you.
I can't even figure out when you have to capitalize fall or spring. You know? It's a terrible thing.
I spent a lot of time in
The
school
state.
taking a grammar.
If it's down the steps, you don't capitalize. Or either.
Unless it was epic, and then it's all capitals.
All caps, right?
Okay, so any comments, or anything on policy 3143, which is, notification and dissemination of information about student offenses and notification of threats of violence or harm? Well, maybe we can, get a motion to approve this one, do you think?
Don't ask me.
I think it's been moved.
What? Who moved it? You did?
No, you said don't.
He said, don't ask me.
Oh, okay, I thought you moved it.
No, I said, don't ask me, I tried to refer the last one, nobody.
Last one died.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
I will
so
move
you're
it.
not gonna try it again?
no. Right one.
So moved.
So moved, second. All right, Bill, thank you. Been moved and seconded to accept policy 3143 as presented. This is the second reading. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Yes, I vote.
You Do you know how many more we have to go? Let's keep that smile
I
going.
thought that was it.
3210 only
Keep it
has like
seven.
4 red words in it.
I don't have any of them.
Policy 3210.
Alright,
I have them all up. If you would like one, I
No,
can
no,
print
no,
you a
no,
copy
no.
any moment.
Can I just, make a motion to approve them all?
On 3210, the only thing, that changed was, additional identifiers in the definition and then through.
I second it.
Couple of suggested changes.
I
Did you hear that? You made a motion, I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We approve policy 3210. Is there any discussion?
Sounds like you have some discussion.
I certainly do. You'd be disappointed if I didn't. First paragraph. You guys are gonna love this, but on the last sentence, for the use of a trained dog guide or service animal by a person with a disability. I believe by a person with a disability, either should be taken out and replaced with for health and safety. Because people have dogs for more than just disabilities. They can smell cancer, they can smell a diabetic seizure. So I think that's just updating that. If you want to leave by a person with disability, comma, or for health and safety purposes or something like that.
Diabetes is considered a disability though.
And then I have a question on page 3 under training, why we don't include classified personnel. The district will train all administrators, certified personnel, classroom personnel, but we don't say classified.
Because classified would
Don't
include,
work in the classroom, is that what it is?
well, classified would include staff that aren't in the classroom versus classroom personnel would include classified staff.
Okay, then that was my question,
Yeah.
is that why it doesn't say classified instead?
Yeah,
it
so
says
classified would mean
classroom?
like, would mean that we would need to have Tim, all of, like, he'd fall into that category.
Your groundskeeper, your.
Yeah,
But
and
when you think about it, it'd be nice for the bus driver and for the people in the dining room and stuff to all have the training, so that was just a question.
I think we
wasn't
can go
as
above
legitimate
it beyond
change.
what the policy says and who is trained,
Yeah, so that's all I have for policy 3210.
So I'm looking,
Anybody else have anything?
I'm looking up this cross-reference 2030 service animal in schools, and it has,
23rd.
yeah, at the bottom of the references. And it has definition, a service animal is a dog or miniature horse trained to perform a task. Assist a person with a disability.
Yes. Miniature horses are an option.
A dog or miniature horse trained to perform a task that assists a person with a disability. The animal must be individually trained to perform a specific task directly related to the individual's disability, not just provide comfort. But I think a lot of things that you're mentioning for help are classified as disabilities.
And I'm sure that's probably true, but for clarification for parents who will have to look everything up all the time, or are older whose definition of disability is different, because these are new skills that we have been able to put dogs to use for. But anyway, that's my suggestion.
I would prefer that Kelly not have to deal with someone who says, my students' general well-being and health is better if they can bring their pet to school.
I think it should have to require a doctor's order. Really, in reality, but,
I think the use of therapy animals is where it would get a little bit tricky.
yeah, I didn't say
Open it up.
therapy.
But they.
Okay, so is there any further discussion? Okay, there's a motion on the table. All in favor of policy 3210 as presented, say aye.
I,
Anyone opposed? Well, I probably should oppose, don't you think?
I think you should.
Yeah,
Okay,
Wait, so are
motion
you-
passes.
yeah, she put, she
Okay.
puts.
Motion passes, okay. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, good. 3245, students and telecommunication devices. Policy number 3245. 3245, why can't I find you? 3245, 3210, 31. Oh, there it is.
I do want to, let me see this, I don't know. That was,
Don't be paying attention to myself.
yeah. I would like to make a recommendation, that came up in clarifying. It's in A. Telecommunication devices will be turned off during the regular school day. Telecommunication devices may only be turned on before and after the regular school day during the student's lunch break. And then the changes and unscheduled free periods. Unless emergency situations that involve imminent physical danger or school administrator authorizes student to use this device. There was some question that came up about like breaks. And whether or not that included the 5-minute passing period. Which it does not, in my opinion.
What's the 5-minute passing?
They have 5 minutes between classes, and so they were asking, well, that's a break, can't I get on my phone as I walk from the portable? No,
Is break listed? I only
see
lunch break.
well. So to clarify that, I am asking that we include unscheduled free periods. In that, to be very clear, that would only be like, sometimes a student will have a club after school, but they won't have like a 7th period class. So they'll sign in to be on campus, but they don't even have study hall. They would then be allowed to use their cell phone on campus because they're not even in study hall, but not during a 5-minute passing period.
They would never make it to class.
They would, and now we've introduced lockers on the far side of campus, so no, Diane, they would never make it to class. So that would be my ask.
Did you have any comments on, under E, where it says, where the district can do a search? Blah, 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 blah. The scope of the search will be limited to the violation of which the student is accused. So, did you ever anybody comment on anything about that? Okay, and then on F, students are responsible for devices they bring to school. The district will not be responsible for loss, theft, or destruction of devices brought onto school property or to school-sponsored events. But if we don't take the phones, they just turn them off. Is that
They are
correct?
to be turned off and kept in their backpack.
Right, so they're totally responsible. The district doesn't have possession of them, so we're not responsible for that. And that was, I wanted to clarify that. make
Yeah,
sure that was
I
the
have-
case.
I mean, I have quite strong feelings about taking somebody's personal property away from them,
Yeah,
just to prevent them from using it, but also, should there ever be an emergency, they need to have access to a community.
Yeah.
device. So,
Yeah.
okay, is there any other discussion or questions on policy 3245, students and telecommunication devices?
I move that we adopt it as proposed by Kelly to include unscheduled
free
free
period.
periods.
It
Right.
took a lot of wordsmithing to get that.
So the second sentence of paragraph A on page 1 at the top will say telecommunication devices may only be turned on before and after the regular school day, comma, during the student's lunch period, lunch break period, comma, and during unscheduled free periods, unless an emergency situation exists that involves imminent physical danger or a school administrator authorizes the student to use the device.
I second it.
Yeah.
Okay, so moved and seconded to accept the policy as amended. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, motion passed.
That gives you the flexibility, like if there's something weird we're not considering, like on a special day, you want students
Yeah,
to be able to
well-
take pictures or something, the administrator could make it
Correct.
available. Yeah.
So like, for example, Mr. Van Duzer was explaining to me that they do, a weather activity. It's a quick 5-minute thing that they do outside on campus, and it's through an app. Period. It's not something that they can do on their computers. So we sat down and worked out what that will look like for him. The students will meet him outside. If they'll take their phones out, they'll do that 5 minutes, and then as they're coming back in, they'll be instructed to turn them off.
So rather than having that the educator expressly allows administration has
And
to.
it, and.
And it kind of brings it to the administrator, then
Correct.
the administrator can allow and then
And
it's still
that's,
covered.
that's much more for the teachers than anything, because they're gonna be getting the questions day in and day out.
Can I please, come on?
And I would much rather have that discussion between the adults in private. Decision makes sense.
And we discussed, I think, earlier of, when there's a circumstances when a student would like to use a cell phone for interpreting purposes with someone who does, English to
We
Hispanic
actually
or something.
we have devices specifically for that now.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Okay, so we are on to policy 4130, Title I, Part A, Parent and Family Engagement. So we're looking for policy 4130.
To John's point earlier about, like some of the policies having place to put information in that is district specific. Some of the WASDA policies we have,
Insert. blank
insert, yeah. Which sometimes I even find when I'm looking at policies, it'll say insert district information here. I'll be like, oh, I'm
That's
gonna
what-
just delete that.
That's what was approved.
Yeah, or it didn't get, or like the red line version didn't, like, right, like what we inserted got approved. And then we just forgot to take that out. It's a lot. Doing the red line is a lot of work. It's very taxing. So this is an example of a policy that has that though, where it specifically says, insert what you're doing. And the procedure very much so.
Ooh, we added to the extent practicable.
Yes.
Sure.
So this is one of the policies that requires, an annual meeting with all parents.
Yep,
Of
practice.
Title I, Part A students.
And that would be that.
Just one more annual activity for, at least that's not the board.
No, and that takes
It's
place on back to
it's
school.
not a report to the board as well.
Basically, we're changing Title I to Title I Part A,
Correct.
wrote this and then moving where we
Making
talked about the,
Sure that it's to the extent practical, so it's, yeah. And then like, so under number 2, some of the stuff that was struck moves to procedure.
all right. What is the difference between practical and practicable?
About 3 years of law school.
It's like, I think on the other one had a word and it meant that you could articulate it, but I had never seen that word before. That was,
Was it articulable?
yes, that is actually it. I had never used that in anything I had written.
Oh, I see. Practical can apply to people, while practicable is for plans, ideas, or actions.
Well,
Well, who would
we
know?
learned something new today.
Didn't even.
So I
read
think
it
I've used that several times.
I think people wouldn't notice that.
Just
use it for both.
Now I will.
Oh, okay.
That's the practical.
You're done being pedestrian on that one. Got it.
Okay, is there any discussion on policy 4130, Title I? Parent and family engagement. I think parent and family engagement's really important. Happy to see this policy. Anybody have any comments, suggestions, or discussion? How are you, Eric? You ready for
Yeah,
a motion?
go for it. Oh, yeah, I move to approve it as written.
Okay. Is there a second to
I'll
approve
second.
policy 4130? Thank you, Diane. It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 4130, Title I Parent and Family Engagement as presented in our second reading. All in favor or any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that passed. Let's move on. Oh, look at this, use of school facilities, policy 4260.
Yeah, the only changes in here, if are additions in, identification on things we will not discriminate against, including like homelessness, immigration, and citizenship status, neurodivergence. And then, removing a statement about, limiting how long facilities can be rented on a regular but temporary basis.
Oh, you can rent it? You rent the facility?
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a question about that,
Mhm.
personal question, because water company,
Uh-huh.
we have our annual meeting.
Mhm.
And we rent the school,
Mhm.
but it really doesn't seem to fit in here.
I think that's a very good question. I had that last time. I think that the second group, which is titled nonprofits, should say nonprofits slash NGOs slash private parties or individuals. Because we don't include any of those. And if we're gonna, yeah, it could just all be in the same group, but,
The other question I had about this is just a picky one.
Uh-huh.
We have category 1 up there, category 2 and category 3. Down below, they list them category numeral.
Are you on the
One.
procedures?
I am,
oh, I don't
Yeah,
have
sorry.
procedures.
Yeah,
You do, they're in there for information, they're in the back, behind it, but they're for,
Oh, behind the
Yeah.
matrix.
anyway,
we
there's,
can,
Oh,
if you,
okay.
if, is there a typo you'd like corrected?
no,
Okay.
I'm just.
Because there's no board approval necessary to do anything with the
Procedure.
administrative procedures.
So my
So-
basic question was the delineation of the categories and where.
Where would the water company fall?
Yeah,
I
I
would-
mean, we're a nonprofit, we're, it's local, it's, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it would just fall as a nonprofit group,
okay.
yeah,
So then there's no cost.
there's no cost.
Okay, we've always paid a cost, that's why I wondered,
Did you this year?
every year.
We can,
How much?
the district may charge a
Hardly
rental
anything.
rate in excess of cost incurred.
No, just like $5. But yeah,
Can we chat about that when you have some free time? Like outside, like that, can we just check in on that?
it's not a big deal.
No, but
We've
I
always
just wanna-
paid it, but all
Yeah.
the years we've used.
It might be just one of those, this is how we've always done it, we don't know that we're not supposed to do it that way, so let's just, when you have time, we'll touch base on it.
Okay.
So you have to like schedule your party or something?
There's a form.
Okay.
There's a form. and
So if I'm a
there's-
non-profit,
So many
I,
days ahead. and-
We have to have,
Yeah,
like,
okay.
You have to have it in.
there has to
Say
have
you don't care
insurance
for
and,
'em.
You have to, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, there's all kinds of,
Yeah.
there's,
freaking insurance is $1,600 a month. Ridiculous.
Make a motion to approve it.
Much my insurance?
Yeah, you gotta.
no,
pay
he's
it.
gonna up your insurance,
Why not? Everything else getting up.
yeah.
We'll make sure everybody agrees with the first statement. The board believes public schools are owned and operated by and for the community.
All right.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
Another one, and maybe you already, maybe I missed this. But if a group wanted to have soccer outside here, or something, volleyball, or something like that. If it is not a official nonprofit group,
it'd be a child-related group.
what if it's more than children? But it's a community event,
Well,
like that happens at White Fen, and there's like community volleyball, men's basketball, 6 in the morning before school, they rent that out for those types of activities that just
Would be
provide a
kids.
community gathering.
So nothing here includes NGOs, private parties, or individuals, and we need to make sure they're included. NGOs, private parties, and individuals, which should include you wanting to pick up basketball or something else, an individual to do that. Or you wanting to have a wedding here, or a family reunion or something. So we need to make sure those are included. I had suggested adding it to the topic of nonprofit, but that specifically, the paragraph specifically says, you have to prove that you're, doing charitable purposes
Yeah.
and stuff, so it probably wouldn't be a good idea to add those 3 things to that particular category. It probably should have its own category.
So the statement, right above where it says, or in bold, school or child-related groups or other government agencies. So the sentence right above that where it says for rental rate purposes, organizations seeking
I
the
see.
use of
Where-
school
what-
facilities.
Yeah.
right?
All of
So,
those all of that is just for establishing the rental rates.
correct.
We talked about this last time, now I'm in
So,
the whole conversation.
So
I mean,
like.
the athletics program that that's
Right,
exactly
so
what
that
you talked
that would
about.
be, like, it's gonna be, I don't think the men's basketball community league is for profit. Like,
Right.
right, like, so you would give them the rate as though they were a nonprofit.
Right.
And then an individual, you would just. Like, right, you don't have to be a group, but these are the categories of how.
So
we
in the procedure, you can also put in like. Those things are, here's where things like an individual, and they still have to get the insurance and they have to do everything else for that.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, so those are just the categories for charges.
All right. I'm okay with that. Can we? It would be nice to have clarity in the procedure for. Just listing those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I can pull it up.
Well, it does say the board will set the rental rates. And we're not,
It does? I thought
right,
it said,
first paragraph,
They haven't been changed.
on the recommendation of the superintendent, the board will set the rental rates. So it just means showing us the rental rates and getting us to say, okay.
That's why I was a little bit chopped down. With all dollars.
it probably should be enough to make sure it covers our power and costs.
Well, grubbing the toilet and,
I think that was kind of the whole idea when they
did that.
just to, you know, and if
Yeah,
you're gonna use.
I mean,
more
Tim comes in, he's
equipment,
got
then,
waste
you know, some of the
baskets to empty
equipment,
and toilets to clean.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It probably
If it was a
should be,
large
it probably
group,
should be at
you
least
know.
15. No, or 20.
So category 3, so category 1 and 2, and then procedures. Which is this school and then the nonprofit are no charge across the board. Category 3, the like for-profit businesses, it is the use fee is by area. $35 for cafeteria, gymnasium, kitchen. Outdoor access is no charge. The piano, overhead projector, tables and chairs are all specifically listed, at $20.
I don't think
If
I
it's
have
business
that
owners.
procedure. I have the matrix.
Cause I don't think it hasn't changed at all.
I mean, it's not in my notebook.
Pretty cheap.
Some of the others are, but that one isn't.
Stop having parties at my house and start having. Yeah.
We do not allow alcohol.
Schedule it every
at
week.
events.
Oh,
There's the $5. I found it,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, where is it? In the
In
procedure?
in addition to the fees, all facility users will be charged $5 per hour to recoup the cost of electricity and other incidental expenses.
For the hour? That wasn't done.
Like, guess we're just staying here for an hour, but that's the only spot I see $5.
Then that's probably why, okay.
Rounded to the nearest 12 hours with the 1 hour charge.
Discount, cause we're like, yeah.
bathrooms are just automatically. For all of them, included with all of them, so.
Yeah, so on the procedures, it goes on to outline like the nonprofit groups and stuff. In more detail, including yoga, aerobic, dance lessons, not for profit, basketball. So, yeah, that's why the policy just is kind of giving the categories of charge, which are in the procedure.
Adult recreation groups, I think.
If any member has a really strong feeling on the procedures, I'd be happy to chat with those whenever you guys are available for that. Alcohol and illegal drugs will not be permitted.
Maybe because we didn't use the cafeteria, gym, kitchen. We just came here to the library and.
Oh, the library's not listed, huh?
Nope.
Well, it should, because you.
Well, if you
might
hold it
have your
outside, we
coffee.
won't even take the
What the
$5.
Unless you hold it outside at night.
Yeah.
Bring flashlights.
With district lights.
We. I was trying to think, yeah. Well, we didn't use anything this year because it wasn't even.
Okay, anything else on policy 4260, community relations, use of school facilities? So is there a motion to approve?
So approved. So seconded.
Moved and seconded to approve the use of school facilities policy 4260
So
as
approved.
presented. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we're on to the last one, folks. 5630 volunteers.
Oh.
It is a 2-paragraph thing.
And it's a shall to will.
So
So,
big changes.
so on this one, is there somewhere in the procedures where we say volunteers have to have a background check?
Yes, we have a full volunteer handbook.
Okay,
Yeah.
because it doesn't say anything about that being our policy, so. That was my question, because it doesn't mention that at all.
When we remove the designee. And we named policy 5005. All right.
It seems like a really fun part of the job, doesn't it, to go and compare and redline.
So moved.
And there's a volunteer handbook online, if
Yep.
nobody's read it, so that's a big thing there. Okay, any discussion? Okay, and chair would entertain a motion for
So
policy 5630 has been moved to approve as presented, a second. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
let's go on public comment. So we do still have someone with us on Zoom. And we have, you gentlemen have a comment?
Can I just go back to the budget for a second, the financial report on
Uh-huh.
the beginning of the year? I'm wondering, and it's totally okay, if we don't know, I can find out later, but I'm curious. How we're ending the year versus how we budgeted with the general fund. So we're actually ending, if I understand it, this 972, 356, we were talking about earlier. And then I'm curious, when we actually adopted the budget, where did we think it was gonna end? Or do we know?
Item H, under annual budget.
Do you mean our 25-26 budget or our 24-25?
The 25-26 budget. the
Oh,
newest
okay.
one.
Oh,
So like, if we look back at last year, we thought we would start
I
at
see.
955.
You're asking about the,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can get that information.
that's,
Curious about
That's
that, and then. I mean, I think it's great, so like, my interpretation, unless I'm missing something, is that we are. Right, we're ending better than we thought, we're going less down in the general fund than what we expected.
Correct.
And that encompasses still the 200,000 transfer to
Right,
the capital projects fund. So then I'm just curious, maybe what are the big drivers of that? And I see that special purpose revenues are down about 100,000 versus what it was expected. And then the one big standout in expenditures is line 70, other instructional programs. Which I'm wondering if that, I know we had a lot of like classification changes, I think, during the year within expenditures and whatnot, so maybe that's what's going on. But just sort of curious, like broadly. Is it a lot of little things that are driving that improved performance, or?
yeah, because
are there
everything
some
else,
Big things.
everything else is up. Special ed is up 40,000. Support services is up 50,000. So I think some stuff was moved out of 70, wasn't it? Cause we budgeted 202 and we had
Sorry,
20.
I did not listen to the second part because I started looking for the answer to the first one. Yes, we did shift
We shifted
We
around
shifted-
expenditures from category to category.
for the 25-26
But what he's talking about is why were we budgeting 202 in other instructional programs, but we only spent 21,000?
Which would have been the 24-25 budget, really,
Yeah,
or more.
Because that is
is that our,
unofficially contingency. Contingency.
Is it, is that 150?
that shows up under revenue too, or not?
No, because there's,
Got it.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no, because, you know, we might,
We don't have it, it's not incoming.
right.
But it has nothing to do with
Not
the money that
revenue.
was moved.
Well, we also have contingency for
That,
other.
that
types of
totally
programs.
makes sense, but was the budget contingency 150,000?
Yes.
You know, that's,
Well,
I
what's the-
actually was gonna ask that question. I'm not sure what the 21,000 was spent on, because I thought it was 200.
Wait, what's the 21,000?
Yeah, we spent.
The actual was 21,000.
Oh,
Yeah, we
budget was
actually
200.
spent 21,000
And we
under
actually
that
have,
category.
and then
But I
contingency
think-
also was for like unexpected revenue,
Mm-hmm.
so it's somewhere in revenue as well.
I don't know. I can answer that question.
There's 100 and, I can tell you
I
for
don't
this year's
think we
budget.
did, because
25-26. There's 150,000 that is marked
I
to
don't
come
think we-
in and to come out.
Yeah, we usually
Yeah.
balance.
Which is what,
Well, and
no, I don't
you
think
know,
we did,
special
because
purpose, the annual
contingency is
budget
for
was-
expenditures that you don't know you're going to have, and you don't wanna have to go through a budget readjustment.
Well,
But legally, we can't have contingencies, and so we have this area where we think we may have to spend money for some reason, and we don't have a budgeted category for
Anita,
it.
we've always had it matching,
mhm,
Yeah.
because the other thing is like, when additional revenue comes in that we don't expect,
mhm.
we don't wanna rebudget, we wanna be able to bring that revenue in under a bucket with it.
Except for forest funds, we don't have here, we never budget for forest funds. Federal forest funds.
Exactly, which I think is why we have the contingency for it to like come in under our 150 or whatever we have.
But there's no federal forest funds up here to balance it. We don't budget federal forest funds.
I-
On the revenue side.
I understand, but we have an offsetting, so our budget actually matches. We don't budget to lose the 200,000. So we have an offsetting revenue and expense that.
But where is the revenue?
I believe.
I don't think we have that, but okay, maybe we do.
So,
Well, there's 100,000 budgeted in the special purpose state. But that wouldn't be,
If
I
we
wouldn't
had it
think
up
about
there,
forest
we'd have
funds.
150,000 under unspent dollars. We don't put it under the revenue side. Because that's not the
yeah,
purpose
but
of
there
it.
is 100,000 there balance in that one.
I think my takeaway from it, if you just focus on the expenditures, we're
Yeah.
146,000 lower in expenditures for the year. If there is 150,000 budgeted under contingency, which that would make sense, that would be consistent with the past. Then really we're a tad, just very slightly overspent on expenditures.
Yeah, and that's why I was wondering what the 21,000 was for.
Well, and that's why I think that like we're actually not under, we may be over on our total, and I don't know where the contingency ended up. Because I think we expected to be 150,000 low on both revenues and expenditures. And so we got more revenues. We
So
don't,
do you budget contingency and revenue?
yes, we always
No,
have.
Well. I don't remember all the discussion about it, but I do remember that we've had that as a in and out within our
Right.
budget.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I can't recall all the inner workings of it, but that jives with the past.
The
But
private
I think to
business,
Eric's
you don't
point, I
budget
guess
for
my
it.
takeaway is that maybe the story of the year then, like very high level would be. We collected more in revenue than what we thought we would,
Mhm.
if I'm correct, to the tune of maybe 100,000, because. If we had 150 of contingency. And we're only over, when we're still over 50. We didn't actually get 150 of contingency, and I'm talking in circles, but the point would be that. We got more revenue, I'm not quite sure from where. And our expenses were probably right on the mark.
So when we do build the budget, we don't have like. REAP grant and title grant, like we don't have all of those numbers exactly,
Mhm.
so that right, so that will create some. Change too, usually it's not for the better, but sometimes it can be.
Right,
So like we're just getting those numbers adjusted now.
Yeah.
So it definitely, there's a lot of impact in projecting revenue versus what we.
For
have to
sure,
get.
yeah.
Sure.
It's,
Can we get that answered though? Like where is, if we have the contingency in and out, what numbers do those show up under? What category? Cause I agree with Anita, I don't know.
I've done contingency budgeting a lot, and we never put it in revenue. It's in expenses to cover your butt.
and you
We
want
should
it
go over budget.
in terms
But
of,
but that's not school district. That
Yeah, the
is
prob-
my experience in business and at the port.
The problem is, and the reason we had it there is like, if we even get a grant, we get a $30,000 grant, we have to rebudget to accept that money, so that's why we.
it's. I
No,
said,
you
you for
actually
25, 26, it's,
You don't have to rebudget
both?
to accept the grant, but the problem is you have to spend the money first before you get the grant money. The grant isn't a reimbursable usually. So yeah, this would be a great thing for our strategic planning.
But what category is it?
I will find out. for you.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and-
always been,
If it helps, really the main reason for my question is just sort of have, like, I'm a finance guy, but I'm just like the year end, kind of what's the recap of how we ended the year? What's the big picture? And I think we're ending good. But my sense is that we were kind of right on the mark with expenditures, which is good. Revenue was a little higher. I'm not totally clear why that is. But that's great. We want that. And then, yeah, I'm just curious then as we go into this next year, back to my first question is, how close did we make it with the 972, 356? What did we budget just to end with? And we can come back to that later, but anyway.
The one thing that we never see, and I don't know if you see it, Kelly, but the county is mandated to send at the end of each fiscal year, once everything is closed out, a state, the state of the district to, ESD 112 and to the state of Washington. And I've never seen that report. It's probably multiple pages long but it would be nice to get the total summary numbers off of that report, because if we do get federal forest funds, we don't see it here. This is strictly the budget before us. It is not the official final general fund actual balance in.
Isn't it
So-
though? Like, these are actual,
This
unless
is
there's some
actual,
stuff still in
yeah.
flux,
This is, yeah,
Well-
it's actual.
yeah.
Well, I'm not
Well,
explaining myself very well, but.
It's,
okay.
it's the budget, well, it's both, I think, but, yeah, I mean, I think it's presenting the budget, but maybe we're not quite done with the fiscal year, like the actuals could still change.
Right, I'm sure there probably are.
Well, yeah,
I don't know how long afterwards the county has and before they declare it's complete and end
I'm-
over.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident, Anita, though. We are not allowed to go over our budget on revenue or expenditures without adjusting our budget, which is why we do both, and Kelly's backing me up on that.
Well, school districts are a little bit different, but we should look into that. We're not like the county. You see the county's advertising in the newspaper every single week for a new approved budget, and we do not have to do that.
Right.
well. And if you notice that, under special purpose state,
Yeah.
we budgeted a lot more than we thought.
99,000.
It took care of some other areas if need be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I also know we don't need to rebudget when things are different categories.
No.
It's more just the totals.
And
Right.
these budget numbers actually come from Kristen. She's the one that has a general idea of the percentage increases that we will see next year and that kind of thing. And so these numbers covered her. And I think she does a good job of taking care of this.
Alright,
Well, thank you very much, John. We do have a lot to learn and we'll do some double checking on a few things.
I got it.
Okay, I see what in the beginning,
And
for the very end.
lost my agenda. So we are on to any other public comment? All right, let's go on to old business, new business, good for the order. The first item is to,
But we actually would have a couple of comments. My name is Chris Goodall. I'm here with my daughter Ava.
oh, Chris, Chris, thank you. All right. I didn't see your hand. It's nice to have you.
Yeah, sorry about that. So we just had a couple of questions as to some recent changes at the school, between my daughter and I. So one, we were wondering about, start times in the mornings. Those have been pushed back quite a bit. And I assume that's probably due to eating breakfast at the desks. We kind of were wondering why that was, what the deciding factor was into pushing breakfast out of the cafeteria and into the classrooms, and then pushing the start day and pickup times for the bus back significantly from last year and the years previous.
I appreciate that public comment. Let's see if that, you feel comfortable answering that?
Yeah, so the school hours remain the same. 8 o'clock was the start of the school day before. Washington State has some pretty strict guidelines that are moving in the direction of being recommended to required for student or for schools, especially like Title I schools, to provide breakfast after the bell. We also know that 30 minutes of unstructured time leading up to the start of the school day can be a challenge for many of our students, as far as just like asking them to have essentially a 30-minute time without any structure and then get straight into learning. And so in aligning with the direction that the state is going for breakfast after the bell, that's why the move to the classroom. And then also just making sure that students are having a nice soft start. The doors open at 7:50. And students are able to go straight into their classroom 10 minutes ahead of the start of the school. So the school day hours are the same. It's just that we're not opening the building a half an hour before school starts anymore. Does that kind of answer that piece of your question, Chris?
Yeah, and my follow-up question to that be, would that not mean that breakfast is now cutting into teachable time?
It is, yeah. And so we are, managing through having the schedule that aligns with all of the requirements that the state is asking of us. But what the research is showing, and anecdotally, it's too early to have any research of our own. But what we find is that when students' basic needs are met, they're fed, they're calm, they're safe. The environment is set that we can actually accomplish more learning, and we don't lose as much time during transition and redirects. And so we're also trying to be really strategic and creative, and using breakfast for things like read aloud. We can also use it for morning work, so some kind of like launch into the day. And so while it does take 20 minutes off of like scheduled instructional minutes, we do find that kids that are coming in more regulated and ready to learn help us get more learning done in the minutes we have.
Okay, and then a second follow-up I have to that is, as reported by my two children at the school, the quality of breakfast has changed from having real food options to being all packaged and fruit options.
So in perfect alignment with the change that we made here to do what Washington State is asking of us, they also changed their nutrition guidelines. And we are working to stay within those guidelines. They reduced the amount of sugar students can have. There was a period where there wasn't a chocolate milk distributor available to us to get chocolate milk that aligned with Washington State's new nutrition guidelines. And so we've been doing a lot of homemade smoothies and bagels, trying to get really creative and still stay within the amount of sugar we're allowed to offer to students.
So you talked about how there's a lot less, or there's supposed to be less sugar options along the new guidelines, but my kids are telling me they're getting the peanut butter and jelly Uncrustable deals, and the option for any sort of like eggs or any other protein has gone out with the inclusion of breakfast in the classroom. Is that correct?
Have we ever cooked breakfast? We haven't, have we?
We've done things like French toast and
Oh, okay.
syrup and stuff like that, and so, I mean, it is a change, and we are looking at the options that are available to us that students are enjoying, and working through what does it look like to provide things that are within the new guidelines in the classroom. And so I in one of my previous schools went through the transition from breakfast in the cafeteria to breakfast in a classroom. It's a pretty big ask of our nutrition team to do that and to have it all ready and keep it hot. We wrote a grant, and we were able to get some additional equipment to help us maintain food temperatures in the classroom instead of in the cafeteria, like coolers and ways to keep food hot. And so I would say our menu isn't complete as to what it will be forever. We're still trying to follow all of the new guidelines and shift it into the classroom. So, you know, we're 14 days into the school year, and we're still discovering what kids do like and what they don't like and what does work in the new environment.
So I guess my concern is this, it sounds like we've lost teaching time for our students. We've gained less quality food by going to prepackaged items that are highly processed. And our show times, including the doors opening, are significantly later, and that's impacting parents and pickup times for drop off. And so I just wonder, is there a point to where, you know, we take a hard look at this and say, is this a program worth doing? And if it's not required by the state, is there any chance of returning to what was working previously?
I mean, I would say that we're always evaluating and collecting data. It is required by the state for Title I schools, which Mill A is, PCIA is not. And so, like, Washington State has indicated pretty heavily that it's going to be required of all schools in the future. So some schools it is required of. Some schools it is not, but the direction is that it will be required of all schools in the future.
And it's a big ask if we were to tell our cafeteria that they need to provide breakfast in the classroom for our K-8, but have a separate program just for.
Correct. So the nutrition team is making one breakfast for everybody. And so we, like, everything we do, we're gonna be evaluating, collecting data and determining if, you know, optional programs are in the best interest of our students. And so I can say the answer to that is yes, like, unless it's required, we would evaluate whether it works for us. But that evaluation period is gonna take, you know, the course of the year.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, you're very welcome to come and observe in the classroom to see what breakfast is like in a classroom. Parents can come observe, right?
Yeah, and the menu is posted. If you wanted to go online, you can see what is being served for breakfast and lunch.
Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to bring up were the restrictions in the field. That's been my daughter's biggest concern with the amount of play space that has been limited in the field. And she was curious on what the decision-making process was and the thought process behind that.
Student safety and supervision. So we have and instruction. So we've asked the students not to play right outside of the classroom space. And then we have some cones up to kind of reduce the overall field. I actually met with the middle school students today to discuss how that was going for them. And like the balance between supervision and student safety, and like what parts of the field they're feeling like they need more access to, so that we can evaluate keeping students safe and still giving them the space they need to play what they're choosing to play at recess. So like the kickball field, currently the boundaries are, students mentioned that they feel like they're too shallow. So then we were like, great, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Like, what we need to do is find a balance between the staff that are assigned to keep you guys safe and the games you want to play. So let's figure out how much space you need and how much we can supervise, and then we'll be able to move that boundary as we kind of determine where it needs to be.
So if there was a change that was caused from safety concerns, what exactly were those safety concerns?
Well, one would
Well,
be the students that go
yeah,
between the
so-
pods and the school.
Yeah, so we had students who were continually leaving the line of sight. And some other stuff. I would be happy to, it sounds like you have quite a few questions, and if you would like, I'd be happy to set a meeting and go through all of it with you. But we had several incidences over the course of the year where student supervision on the playground came up. And so to start the year, we were just wanting to make sure that our staff was feeling supported and trained, and that students were feeling seen and safe. And so as those two things kind of come together, and especially with our middle school students who are able to sit down and have that discussion about needs and responsibility, we're having those discussions and ensuring that students are getting the space to play that we can safely supervise.
Yeah, I would encourage you to come in, because in reality, the board meeting's not a good place. But I am glad that we're responding to you. I think the board is hearing important things as well. So please do get a hold of Kelly and come in and visit with her. And please feel free to make arrangements with Kelly to come observe a classroom. That'd be
Okay.
great.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll submit some questions, I guess via email. Maybe that's a better
Yeah,
way of
absolutely.
doing things. And then we'll, I guess, set up a meeting and then maybe come do an observation.
Okay, sounds
All right.
great.
Thank you for your time, though.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, under new business, and I just wanted to say, if you have a specific subject that you want to make sure that we talk about in our retreat, please email that to Kelly. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Not to each other, but to send her, say, I'd like to see, make sure we kind of cover this, or this, and that would include you, John. And then, that's it. Back to school night. Would anybody be interested in back to school night if we had a table with a board member at it where people could ask questions or make comments or anything? Just to be more open to the public.
A dumb tape.
You suggested
I
that.
know.
The wrong weather, right? We don't want
We
to
can do it inside.
I mean, Kelly.
But you
she
could
went-
throw
okay.
pies.
I'll do something, not at back to school.
But so anyway, at a minimum, please be sure and wear your tags so people will know who
When
you
is
are.
that?
Let's go document signing, and I guess I should divide this up, so
Can we just go back to the retreat for 1 second, Anita?
Sure. Go right ahead.
Come back to that, but the venue, are we gonna do it up at my place? Is it at the school? And then did we have a time set?
And we confirmed the 18th works for everybody.
We
Yeah, I
haven't
think
done that yet.
that's a Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you wanted to talk about the date again, Eric.
And we're gonna do 6, oh no,
During the day.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a 10 to
10?
2.
yeah, I think that works.
This is just those two things.
Would
I can do that.
10 to 2 for the board. retreat.
Oof.
The only time I see 10 PM is on board nights.
I think, I would be in favor of meeting at John's with the caveat that, if we end up with, very many public showing up, that we can move the meeting here.
Yeah, that's sort of my one concern. I'm totally game for it. I don't, one sort of, practicality is, do we need to, like, is it recorded and all that jazz? Like, I'm just thinking about the setup. So I don't know, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I'm game for it, and if it's a more comfortable environment, that's great,
Yep.
but there could be a lot of rigmarole to do, so.
Especially
Zoom.
Technically, I only need internet and you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do that. Or a computer.
Or,
Internet,
yeah, I
internet
don't
and
have to
computer
put it on
screen.
the TV, I think, technically.
There's a good chance nobody will join to go through a retreat with us, but they could, and then. Actually, we don't, it doesn't have to be online, we could make it online if we want to, we just have to record it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I would say for this one, maybe we don't, it would probably not conducive to have online joining, people are welcome to join us, it's an open meeting, but.
They're not gonna Zoom.
We do want to make sure that I make sure that it was strictly an observation thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that have to be
Right.
recorded or?
Yeah, they
just
gotta
not?
have.
Wants to be work.
I think,
I think it does.
yeah, I think.
Is it just audio? It's
No,
have the
no,
audio and
that
video.
all open meetings need to be recorded.
Need to be recorded.
It is,
But it may, but Gary may be right, it may only, the requirement may only be audio,
It-
we
it
may
is.
not need to.
I think.
Yeah, so we could post our audio recording of it on the same place.
Yeah, in person, that'd be.
So where are we going?
To John's house.
Oh, I think you said Joe.
Okay, and so then the 18th from 10 AM to 2 PM, that's
Did
the
you?
plan.
Yep.
Policy
Yeah.
online?
Yes, I did, for next
Yeah.
month. Yep. Thank you, though.
You're welcome.
Not that I need to read them again.
You might.
Yeah, never know.
I'll be glad to put them away.
No, I got a whole stack. I kept all of these things, all of them.
Put them on the desk and then I don't see them no more.
So here is the fire district thing that I don't think it's on the agenda.
It was a,
Business, new business, good.
you know, we've already done it on the agenda,
We just need to sign
you just
it.
need
Yeah.
to sign it.
The fire district thing.
Something had to be fixed, right? We did it, but I had to fix something, so we could.
Who wants to be commissioner, or the
You
commissioner?
can just,
Chairman.
yeah.
Well,
Welcome to put one line through it.
You could just cross it out and put director, or when there's two things to sign.
It's 2 copies of it.
Oh, it's two
Oh,
copies.
yeah.
So we signed 2 copies, one for them and one for us.
I'll sign them with like. Oh, the other people can have the lines.
Oh, okay. Well, there's only.
I just made it 4. So that's wrong, get 5, they can sign next to me.
Yeah, oh, okay.
It's their form.
I'll do it. On the, on this one.
Shoot,
Make it really difficult.
I'll sign next to you.
Okay.
This is, yeah, and you can take it and read it, or it's whichever you call it.
Oh. Okay, 8:30, I thought for, I saw 9:30 for a second. What's the score?
Why do you assume I'm watching?
We hope you are, because where else will we get our updates?
17-6 Chargers. Alright, that's both my fantasy football leagues this week.
I think I had
Today
2%.
even started.
Saquon gave me half a point.
Sign it too.
I had,
I know, I always leave it for last so everybody else could go home.
Oh, I had 2, I had 4 combined.
I'm always sitting here for-
4.98 points.
Playing with papers.
So I was asking if they were done signing. We're done.
That's why I'm concerned.
and I started. Third silver home. How do you get my pen? Which hurt me? How do you go get my, yes.
So, do we wanna make any plans for, how we're providing any, refreshments at the retreat, or is that gonna be? Think you clarified.
That's the place we always order from, where they open on the weekends. We could do that.
The juice place? Did you keep your policies? in?
Just anyone who has any specific,
Yeah.
The other ones are.
Okay.
diet free their own.
I can send the menu out
They have fruit bowls.
like a week
and
before, and then you guys will pick something.
Okay.
They're really good.
And parfaits and really good salads, so. You're welcome.
Everyone's getting my.
Yes, yeah.
Hoping you find yours.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's stolen from my door.
Yeah, I didn't.
Seattle. Sorry. Including the very first one.
I didn't. Thirteen out of 16 is not bad.
We might even have a delivery driver if they won't deliver to us on that day.
Thank you, John.
Wait, you, Gary, you. He's like, whoa, no, he's got to be at the retreat, so sorry.
Backwoods is too far away to have a
Or-
retreat.
Hey, we have booster club meetings.
Booster Club was at Red.
Yeah.
Bluff.
Yep, right.
That was a good spot.
It
There's
was
a booster club meeting that lasted 6 hours.
Well, the meeting didn't. But 6 hours.
Backwoods has good books. Good books.
The
They-
meeting
they
was 30
really
minutes, the
do.
meeting was like maybe an hour and a half. Then they had live music.
Right.
Yeah.
We stayed.
And good soda.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
That was a lovely Coca-Cola.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And then we ran into a bunch of students. It was awesome.
Well, former, so it was a, oh, yeah, all.
Oh, yeah, all were
All were
former.
former, so it was okay.
I mean, it's fine.
Cause then.
I don't think they would have even recognized me at the Huckleberry Festival if I wouldn't have been with you guys. They would walk right past me.
Mhm.
I got my incognito look.
I almost didn't recognize you when you walked up, so.
You done in the end?
We are. Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn. Everyone, favor say
I don't
aye.
need a motion.
Oh, did we miss something?
General consensus.
I.
Oh, we hit the stuff at the end.
I just
The
threw
next meeting,
my
yeah.
agenda away.
The next meetings we've covered.
Next meeting's the 18th. I mean, our retreat's the 18th, our meeting's the 20th.
Yep.
And we have no need for an executive session, so thank you very much for spending the time. I think we had some good discussions.
So when we say at John's house,